video, I made this promise to you guys.
I will be looking into this. I will be fixing this sound in the future.
Well, that future is now! Join me on this journey of fixing that damn clicking noise. Let's do this!
Alright, just as a reminder, this is what we're dealing with. So, clicking noise when cornering at very slow speeds and when turning the wheel at standstill. So we're going to jack up the car and remove the wheel. After spraying some penetration oil on the bolts holding down the brake disc, we're going to remove the brake caliper by undoing these two bolts. The reason we're removing the brake caliper and brake disc is to gain access to the wheel bearing, which we'll remove as well. I'll later explain why we're doing this. So after removing the brake caliper, make sure to hang it to your spring to not put any stress on the brake lines and sensor cables. I used a piece of string. So then simply remove the Allen bolts holding down the brake disc before removing it altogether. So once removed, we're presented with the wheel bearing. We're gonna remove this by undoing the 4 bolts with the TP60 Torx Plus bit. This was physically very demanding. So to create a bit more access, I quickly removed the heat shield by undoing the 3 10mm bolts. Because the ratchet wasn't able to fit behind the wheel bearing to remove the last Torx Plus bolt, I had to use a very short spanner to undo it. I'm still recovering from this. Here I wasn't sure if I was bending the spanner or the bolt was actually going. Don't forget to remove the sensor as well. Alright, so once all the bolts are undone, create a bit of leverage on the lower part of the wheel bearing because it's quite stuck on there. And that's one wheel bearing removed. Alright, so the reason we're removing this is because the clicking noise may come from microscopic movement between the face of the knuckle and the wheel bearing. As you can see, there's a bit of corrosion on the face of the knuckle, which implies there's room for stuff to get in there. So what BMW has come up with is this small repair kit. In this small repair kit you have a sanding pad and a sort of adhesive included. First we're going to give the face of the knuckle a very good clean with a wire wheel, some brake cleaner and a good wipe down. So now for the repair kit. We start out with gently sanding the face of the knuckle. After removing the sanding dust, we'll use a clean microfiber towel to soak up the adhesive. Afterwards, gently spread it on the face of the knuckle until a sticky surface is formed. Note to not get the adhesive in the holes of the threads. Then also give the back of the wheel bearing a similar clean. Alright, so now it's time to install the wheel bearing again. Obviously we're going to use new bolts. Note that this protruding piece should slide in the lower part of the knuckle. Once you've hand tightened the bolts and installed the sensor again, it's time to get the torque wrench in there. Unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to get the torque wrench on one of the lower bolts, so better get your guns out to get it good and tight. So after torquing the bolts down, you should then rotate each bolt an additional 90 degrees. Again, this is very demanding, let alone for the bolt the torque wrench can't even get to. As you can see, I was making very small turns, eventually adding up to the additional 90 degrees per bolt. Doing the additional 90 degrees on the bolt which you can't reach with the torque wrench was impossible, but I gave it my all to have it as tight as possible. And believe me, that thing is going nowhere. Alright, so to protect the freshly applied adhesive from debris, I partly covered the wheel bearing with a towel. So after cleaning up the face of the wheel bearing, it's time for our next trick to hopefully eliminate the clicking noise, being a friction disc. This friction disc will, eventually, be placed between the wheel bearing and the brake disc and would also supposedly eliminate any microscopic movement causing the clicking noise. So now it's time to prepare the inside of the brake disc. Also here, we're cleaning up the surface and sanding it down a bit to, again, eliminate any microscopic movement. Once done, it's time to get this bad boy back on the wheel again. Oh, and don't forget to put the heat shield back in first. So then it's a matter of putting the brake caliper back on, obviously using new bolts. Alright, so that was the hard part, but we're not done yet here. In my previous video, we changed out the pinch bolt and added anti-seize on it. We're gonna replace it again now without the anti-seize this time. So get out your 16mm sockets and remove the pinch bolt and fastener.
Boss wants to see you.
Really? About what?
I don't know, just go talk to him.
Nothing? Oh, it's you. Go ahead and take a seat.
So, you wanted to see me, boss?
Yeah, so remember you were built as a one-time use bolt?
Well, yes, but surely you can use me again.
Listen. We're repairing this car the proper way. We just can't reuse one-time use bolts.
But sir...
No, we're gonna have to let you go. Please, I'm sorry, don't make it any harder for us.
But sir, my girlfriend is pregnant, and we just remortgaged the house.
Just don't. Just grab your stuff and leave. We will no longer be needing your services. I'm sorry.
Okay then, sir.
Goddamn clicking noise. Ruining lives here. So here's the new member of the team. But first I thought it was a good idea to remove the debris sitting between the strut and the knuckle, as well as cleaning out the previously applied anti-seize. So before tightening the new pinch bolt and fastener down completely, I put the strut under light load, as this is what I did last time, which apparently worked for the other side of the car, as the clicking noise there is gone. After torquing it down, release the pressure of the secondary jack. Alright, so another thing I tried was cleaning out the spring. With the brush, I cleaned between the spring and the strut and found lots of little stones. Then I loosened the spring, sprayed silicone spray on the bottom and the top of the spring, twisted the spring to get the silicone spray distributed, all in order to eliminate any possible coil bind. Alright, so then for the final trick. Apparently, replacing the top strut mount bolts worked for some people. So we'll be removing the bolts, use new bolts, torque them down to spec, plus add an additional 90 degrees per bolt. For completeness sake, I also went ahead and cleaned and lightly sanded the inside of the wheel before putting it back on. Then it was time to test the results.
Fuck it, we'll just see how it goes. Yes, come on, yes, yes. I did it! I did it. Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, yes! Come on! Come on! Come on! Let's fucking go!
Thank God I managed. I was so happy. As you can hear, the clicking noise now is finally gone. I'm not sure which trick exactly solved it, because I tried all of them at once, but I'm just happy that the noise is gone.
And there we have it. We did it. I would like to thank my subscribers, my sponsors, friends and family. I couldn't have done it without you guys. Guys, we recently surpassed the 1 million subscribers. It's unreal. I want to thank you so much for watching and see you next time.